Hi. Hi, everybody. Please let me know if the video is working. Okay, well, I see we already have some people who are waiting here. Okay, well, now it started. Let me know that the video is working well, that you can hear me well, and we're going to be starting. Okay, so I'm looking for your comments. Okay, great. Okay, hi. Hey guys, welcome everyone to this live stream. Please let me know where you are from and what your English study goal is. Real interested. Okay. So let me know where you're from, what your English study goal is, why are you here, and what is that you would like to improve in your English. Okay, while you're talking, I'm going to just tell you a little bit. So in this case today, as you probably guessed from the name of the live stream, we will talk about phrasal verbs. So why phrasal verbs? Because you probably asked yourself this great question, like, how can I sound more like a native speaker? And many of my students ask these questions during our lessons. So some of them even have been taking English lessons for years, and they have a pretty decent level. But there is still, a clear difference between them and native speakers. So actually, if you have something similar, please let me know as well in the comments. So part of the answer of why you don't sound like a native speaker lies in phrasal verbs, because they open like a whole new world of English speaking and vocabulary, and they really allow you to elevate your level to as close to a native speaker as possible. So phrasal verbs, they're really vital, to master, because they're used in everyday conversation all the time. If you have been listening to native speakers, you might have probably noticed that. So in this case, we're going to start from the basics. First of all, we're going to talk a little bit why is learning phrasal verbs so important to sound native. And next, I'm going to show you the 30 phrasal verbs you might use to sound more like a native speaker. Okay, great. I see your comments here. So, sounds good. It's you again. Yeah, it's me again. Ukraine, Colombia, Ukraine. I'm from Ukraine. Oh, well, a lot of Russian people and a lot of Ukrainians. Okay. Kazakhstan. To study in the United States. Hello from St. Petersburg. I'm gonna passive see. From Egypt. Wow, that's awesome. From Poland. We have a lot of people here from almost all over the world, but a lot of Russians and Ukrainians as well. That's cool. Okay, why are you guys studying English? What is your English studying goal? Where are you studying it? I'm from St. Petersburg. Okay. Great. Okay, so why do you need English? Because what we're going to be talking today, by the way, is kind of useful for everybody. So it means if you are going to take IELTS or TOEFL or any other like FCE, whatever examination, it's really cool because you're going to be able to use phrasal verbs in your speaking section and sound much more fluent and, just sound much better. It's also good for people who just want to communicate with native speakers or who want to travel and, I don't know, maybe just who are studying English for work purposes as well. Because phrasal verbs, to be honest, they are used a lot right now. So while you talk, I'm going to the conference. I'm from Russia, okay, to get a degree in London. I want to master English because I think it's the coolest language. Okay, for work. So cool. In this case, everybody needs phrasal verbs. And in this case, if you noticed, when native English speakers talk, they use a lot of them. Usually, they would use a phrasal verb or two in their sentences. Because if you're able to use these verbs fluently, this is something that really sets you apart. You can see sets you apart is also a phrasal verb. It sets you apart from foreigners who are also learning English. And of course, there are normal verbs and words that can take place of a phrasal verb. However, a native speaker, and this is the same that you should do, they rarely choose those other kind of conventional words. Instead, they will opt for Well, that's another phrasal verb I've used. They will opt for the phrasal verb. So, for example, I'm going to give you right now several conventional expressions, and you're going to try to tell me how to change this expression to a phrasal verb. How will you change endure a situation? If you have an expression to endure a situation, how will you change it using a phrasal verb? Okay, meanwhile, I'm also going to take a look at your comments. I want to take IELTS from Turkey to get to know other cultures, which is the first language in the world. Okay, so we're thinking of how to change an expression, endure a situation. I'm going to send it to you. Okay, put up. Any other ideas? Well, that's actually a correct one. It's put up with some situation. Exactly. So I can't put up with it any longer. Okay, if you want to say, I like cycling. And this is, by the way, is going to be the topic of our new challenge soon on Instagram. So you can check out Instagram of LinguaTrip or LinguaTrip Russian for those who speak Russian, because there's going to be a challenge regarding I like. But anyway, for now, how can we change that using a phrasal verb? Because I love English and I want to talk with English people. Well, that's great. In this case, phrasal verbs might come handy for you as well, because native speakers, they really use them a lot. So, I like cycling. Well, you can say I'm into cycling. It's a little bit different. I'm gonna say I'm into. When you want to say that you like something, you can say I'm into. I'm into cycling. I'm into jogging. I'm into playing tennis. This means I'm kind of interested in this. Okay, well, the last one. Let's take the last one, like examine a problem. How would you change examine a problem? I'm fond of. Well, yeah, that's not exactly a phrasal verb, but that's a good collocation to use anyway. Okay, examine a problem. Like if you really want to take a close look at the problem. I'm keen on, it's kind of British. Yeah, you can use I'm keen on, but it's a little bit more British. I'm keen on cycling. Yeah, you can use it. All right. Examine a problem. Deal with that. That's not exactly the best way to say that. I would say that to deal with, it's more like to solve the problem, to tackle the problem. Those of you who are interested in taking IELTS or TOEFL, please write down to tackle the problem is a really good expression to tackle that problem. Well, to fix, to cope with, but cope with, not exactly. To examine, I would better say to look into the problem. I don't know if you guys met this expression. Yeah, but to look into is a really good one that you might use, and this means to examine a problem. So when you encounter some problem, it's really important to look into it. Because look at, it's like you're looking at me right now, but that doesn't mean that you kind of examine. Yeah, so you're just looking at something. And look into means examine. All right. So in this case, we're going to move on. And right now I'm going to share my screen with you. And I will show you the 30 phrasal verbs you need to know to speak like a native. Just 1 second. Let me figure out how I'm going to do that. And you will be able to see this phrasal verbs. I think we're going to do it this way because there are 30 phrasal verbs in my list. I'm not sure we're going to be able to cover all of them. So what I think we're going to do, we're going to cover 5 phrasal verbs. Then I'm going to turn off the share screen and I'm going to read your comments and tell you answer your questions, maybe tell you some extra information. If you have any questions that are not connected with phrasal verbs, you might still ask them because that's also an opportunity for you to ask whatever questions you're interested in. And then we're going to take 5 more phrasal verbs. So, well, yeah. Okay, cool. You see it right now? Okay, Great. In this case, let me know if you see my share screen now. I'm gonna check that out and we start. Okay, hey guys, can you see that now? Great, great. In this case, this are the first 5 phrasal verbs which are really, really useful and that are very common. I would say, first of all, the first one is to add up. So to add up, in this case, it means to make sense. So you can say that the story that he told me simply doesn't add up, or the suspect's version of a story doesn't add up, or the figures in your report do not add up. Can you verify it? So in this case, to add up can be used when you talk about something that doesn't really make sense. And I don't know if you can hear it, but it sounds much better when you say add up instead of make sense. So you might still opt for make sense, but add up just sounds much better and it is rather frequently used. So expression number 2, like phrasal verb number 2, is to head out. This means to leave or to start traveling. For example, you can say, well, I have to head out now to catch my flight. It kind of means, okay, I need to leave now because I need to catch my flight. I need to be in time. Now, where are you heading out to? It means like kind of where are you going? Where are you heading out to? I'm going to a party. So I really suggest you to write down these phrasal verbs and try, in this case, to use them as often as you can and as much as possible whenever you are speaking to someone or when you are speaking with yourself and just whatever. Try to use them so that they will become active vocabulary instead of a passive one. So in this case, phrasal verb number 3 is to catch up. To catch up means learn about something that happened while you were absent or that happened in the past. You can say that my brother just arrived today. We still haven't had time to catch up. Means we still didn't have this conversation, so that we would be able to discuss some things that happened during I was away or maybe he was away, whatever. So, or you can also say my family loves to go on vacation together, as this is a great opportunity to catch up, like to discuss all the things we have. So we usually do not have time to communicate because of work commitments. So this is a great opportunity for us to catch up. You know what? I think that a great idea is going to be if you try to write in comments some examples with these phrasal verbs. That's going to be really great because I will be able to read them after we cover this first 5 phrasal verbs, and then I will be able to tell you if you used it correctly or if it sounds good. So if you're interested, if you want to learn the phrasal verbs, just write in the comments a few sentences with this phrasal verbs. So phrasal verb number 4 is to hit up something. It means to go or see or to experience something, and this is really like a casual style, pretty much similar to go to expression. It's like you can say, I don't feel like going to the movies tonight. Why don't we hit up some shops instead? Means why don't we go to some shops instead? So why don't we hit up? And there's also an alternative meaning. It means like a contact, to contact a person. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. You have my email. And that's very typical in the United States. You can say that. Just feel free to hit me up. Yeah, or it's like, feel free to contact me. So hit up 2 meanings. The first one is to go to, and the second one is, in this case, to contact somebody. And now the idiom, like phrasal verb number 5, is going to be to cancel an activity or event, which is phrasal verb to call off. Probably you have encountered this one as well. I had to call off the meeting of executives because of this problem. why does she keep calling off our meetings? Yeah, so why does she keep canceling our meetings? I called off my birthday party because I got sick. This is the verb to call off. So to call off means to cancel. Like we can call off, for example, a live stream if something happens. Hit up, to go to some place or to contact a person. To catch up, to learn about something that happened in the past. To communicate with your family, friends. Head out, it's to leave or start to travel. And add up means to make sense. Well, now I'm gonna take a look at your comments. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And yeah, okay. Now I'm gonna take a look at your comments and answer the questions that you have. Oh, my grammar is so bad. Well, don't worry about grammar. You might drill it. I really suggest you drilling grammar whenever you are encountering some problem in it. Because what I mean by drilling is that you take a rule and you repeat it a lot. So you repeat it a lot of times until it sticks in your memory, and you can use it automatically like native speakers do. This is like, for example, also a great way to do that, to improve it, is to listen and read a lot. This is like children are studying. They do not really study grammar rules in the beginning. Yeah, when they, for example, learn their native language. What they do instead, they just listen to people talking and then they repeat the same constructions. So that's a good thing to do. Okay, why don't make group in what? I'm not really sure that I got your question. So I had been ill and had missed a lot of school. So when I came back, I had much to catch up. Exactly. So I had a lot to catch up. It's usually, in this case, catch up is going to have a meaning of maybe like I had a lot to talk about with my friends as well. It's not logical. Don't you see? It doesn't add up. Exactly. So you can say this, for example, it doesn't add up. Exactly. Let's hit up a new cafe nearby. Okay, awesome. Let's go to a new cafe nearby. I'm sorry, something bad has happened. I have to call off our meeting. That sounds awesome. Yeah, like when I say I need to call off our meeting, that sounds great. It's conversational. It's the same as like I have to cancel it, but this sounds just much, much better. If I remembered some pivotal assets, I would catch up. Well, in this case, I would catch up with it, and catch up with something has a bit different meaning. I mean, that's awesome that you know the word pivotal and pivotal asset, but that's a little bit different meaning. First of all, assets, we usually use them when we talk about a company. So we might say that, let's say the company has its assets. Yes, it's like all the funds they have, like all the money, all the equipment, whatever is their assets. And in this case, you cannot catch up with it. So you can catch up with some information, you can catch up with your friends. That's a little bit different. Never heard of hit up some shops. Yeah, that's a good one. It's like kind of go to some shops. I'm heading out to my new office. You can say my new office, or I'm heading out to my office. Awesome, yeah. So I'm heading out to my office. You can say I need to catch up with my friends, or let's hit a new cafe nearby. All of those expressions are great. So if you try to use them a lot when you speak, you will see how much easier it will be for you to use them afterwards. This is what we're doing like on my intensive course. I don't know if you checked out, there's the link below the video. And this is the course from elementary to intermediate. And what I do there, I take some vocabulary topic, let's say like favorite things. And it sounds like a very simple one, but I actually stuff it with a lot of words for TOEFL and IELTS students to use as well in their speaking conversations and during the speaking section. So what I try to do, and what you might do as well, is you take a list of words and then you create kind of a story with these words. And then you try to tell the story using as many of these words as you can. So it works brilliantly. And then you can also try to put all these phrasal verbs in Quizlet and learn them first and then try to use them. so that this way you will be able to get a bit more, of practice. Awesome. So we're moving on. Let me show you the next 5 phrasal verbs. Okay. As I said, if you have any questions not regarding the phrasal verbs, you might also ask them in the chat. I'm going to check that out. So phrasal verb number 6 is to turn in. That means to go to bed. Please text me if anybody of you met this phrasal verb before, if you know this. A good example is you can say, I'm sorry, but I will be turning in soon. It's just that I've got to get up early in the morning. So I will be going to bed. I will be turning in soon. You can also say, after this movie ends, I'm going to take a shower and turn in for the night. So turn in, once again, go to bed. Phrasal verb number 7 is run up. So run up means to accumulate debt or start to owe money. You can say, guess what? I ran up a big bill at the fancy restaurant last night. Means I got a big bill. Or you can say you're running up our water bill with all of your long showers. Yes, so you start accumulating, making this bill expand, making it bigger. Phrasal verb number 8, to hop on. Means to jump onto something that is moving. It can be a train, bus, car, whatever public transportation we're talking about. For example, it's like we hopped on the bus as it passed, or he hopped on the skateboard and skated away. So it's like to jump onto something, usually something that is moving. And most frequently, we're going to use it when talking about trains, buses, and cars. But we can also use it as like hopped on the skateboard as well. Phrasal verb number 9 is to back somebody up. To back up is probably you've encountered this phrasal verb. It's very frequent and it's very typical. So it means to support somebody in difficult situations. Or you can also have a backup plan. So to back somebody up is a verb. It means like that you're supporting somebody, and usually it means to avoid detention or punishment. So we can say like, usually it's like a typical situation at school. We can say, look, if I tell Mr. Blake that we aren't prepared to work late tonight, are the rest of you gonna get me up? So are you gonna support me and confirm the same thing? The witness backed up the criminal's version of events. Once again, the witness confirmed, supported or confirmed the criminal's version of events. So he or she said that, yeah, it was exactly the same way, and that's it. So to back somebody up is to support somebody, to agree with somebody. But mostly often, we're going to use it in the school setting. So take in is our phrasal verb number 10. Take in means to think about something or try to understand. Well, you can say, I know that I need to calm down, but the situation is so unexpected and there is so much to take in. Means so much I need to think about. So if you encounter some unexpected situation, you might say, wow, there is a lot of things to take in. Or you might say that John just recently learned that he was adopted by his family. He has a lot to take in. So once again, he has a lot of things to understand. He has a lot of things to think about, and there's a lot to digest in this case, digest mentally, I mean. So this is like another way of saying taking in is like understanding or thinking about something. So to recap, turn in means go to bed, run up, accumulate debt or start to owe money, hop on, jump onto something that is usually moving, back somebody up or just back up. It is to support somebody in difficult situations. And take in is think about and try to understand. So I have a lot to take in. There is a lot to take in. Let me see your comments and your questions right now. Okay, well. There are a lot of them. Let me just figure out where we stopped. Okay. What do I do if I have no opportunity to communicate with native speakers? Well, the first thing you have to do, you have to talk, on your own. You have to talk anyway. Because if you're not speaking in English, you will have a lot of problems afterwards because you will not just be able to speak. You will have this language barrier, and every time you want to say something, you will be like, well, maybe that's not the time, or like, maybe I don't know how to say that. I'm afraid that people will not understand me. So try making oral records. So you are taking your phone, you record what you are, let's say, just answering any questions or talking about something. And then after that, you try to listen to this recording and you think, does it really make sense? And this is a good strategy that I think is also a good strategy for TOEFL and IELTS preparation. Because if you do not record yourself, you will never be able to understand how you sound. So try recording yourself and then try, correcting some grammar or vocabulary problems. And the second thing is listening. So listen to audiobooks, watch different movies, try to do as much of the listening as you can, because this is really gonna, it's gonna really boost your vocabulary, and it also gonna boost your speaking. So they don't really seem connected, but it is. And I think that one more thing you can do is try learning things by heart. And yeah, this is kind of, tricky and difficult, as well as time consuming. But if you learn a lot of things by heart, you will be able to see how much better your speaking will be. All right, now, okay. So is there the difference between heading to, heading out to? Oh no, it's pretty much the same. I'm turning in. I'm so tired. Exactly. I need this file. Oh, well, I'm not sure I will be able to send it to you. Yeah, I think that it does not give me any possibility to save and to send the file here. So I think, unfortunately, you'll need to write it down. Guys, let's do it this way. So those of you who are attending the language marathon that I have, it's like the link below, you can just sign up. And if you have Telegram access, like there is like group on Telegram that we have, I think I'm gonna send this PDF there. So if there are any of you who are taking the course, you can just get it there on Telegram. But honestly, here I will not be able to send it. I hopped on the bus when it was about to go. Yeah, awesome. Well, British people understand me when I use these phrasal verbs. Obviously, they're universal, you can use them everywhere. So what programs will advise me? Those that you often advise others. Oh, well, really about programs. There were a lot of talks about programs yesterday on LinguaTube TV channel, but that was in Russian. So there are a lot of different resources you might do. For example, the first resource about listening that comes to my mind is ESL Lab. I'm gonna send that one to you. This is really good resource in terms of listening. And yesterday I talked about different resources. You can actually watch the stream even if you don't understand it and just write down the resources because I sent all the links there. And this is just the one I haven't been talking about yesterday. And also, guys, by the way, those of you who want to improve their pronunciation, I really love the 4-word resource. It's really cool. And I think it's like kind of a dictionary, like pronunciation dictionary, but you do not only listen to one single word, you can listen how this word is pronounced in a variety of contexts. So there may be just like one sentence or like even several sentences or a collocation, and it's just awesome in my opinion. So you can also hear several people pronouncing it and you can see where these people come from. Okay. um, I have to take in the map. Well, take in. What do you mean by this? I think this example was not very clear to me. Is gotten used instead of got? Well, it is, but it's a little bit old-fashioned. Right now, especially in states, they would mostly use got instead of gotten. The government will take in about withdrawing some troops from another country. In this case, look, take in, yeah, that we can use it. In this case, they will take in, they will understand about withdrawing some troops. It's usually, taken, it's when you have some difficult situation or something very unexpected and you're like, well, there's a lot to take in, kind of to absorb, to digest in this meaning. Yeah, so there's a lot to take in. When you learn some news which are pretty maybe unpleasant or just, unexpected for you, this is the meaning. Okay. Can we make a group on WhatsApp and can act there? Yeah, well, you certainly can. It's like up to you. That's going to be really cool. How to remember all these phrasal verbs and don't forget. The key thing is practicing. And 1 second. I'm also going to send you one link. With practicing, linking, like in this case, phrasal verbs. That's the one we have on British Council. They have a lot of cool videos with phrasal verb. First of all, you might learn some new phrasal verbs. However, some of them are really British, so always double check. Anyway, they have really cool resources. They have videos with these phrasal verbs, and then they kind of have it in topics. So you can have a topic of family and phrasal verbs connected with this topic. Or let's say phrasal verbs that you can use for shopping. This is how you do it. And I believe that the most important thing whenever we talk about phrasal verbs is using them. So when you are talking, every time, for example, right now, you want to say that you want to go to bed, instead of saying that I want to go to bed, say that I want to turn in. Yeah, and repeat them a lot. You can even find a friend of yours and tell him or her all the phrasal verbs you've learned. Just telling that will also be really useful because you will be able to understand like that there may be some things you really don't get. Yeah, and while I'm explaining this to somebody else. And usually when you explain some ideas to a person, that's the best way to learn. So find somebody who's also studying English and tell like him or her like, okay, come on, I have this cool news. I can explain to you some new phrasal verbs you might use. Yeah, and then once again, whenever you talk, try to substitute just conventional verb with a phrasal verb. All right. So are these phrasal verbs other phrasal verbs you can use in formal situations, substituting by them ordinary words? Yes, there are. And there are a lot of good phrasal verbs for IELTS and TOEFL. For example, like result in. Once again, look into is also good. It's also formal. I would say that you can also, for example, there is a good phrasal verb to advocate for something. So there are many of them, but they're more formal. Yeah. So today we're talking about informal phrasal verbs, and we're talking about phrasal verbs that you might use in your speaking. Can you advise useful American student books for learning English, not Oxford or Cambridge Press? Well, I have one, the one that I kind of used to, okay, well, 1 sec, I'm gonna try to find it. Oh, well, I cannot find it right now. I think I'm gonna send it to you later. Honestly, I don't really love using student books because you kind of limit yourself to only the information that is given in the book. What I suggest you to is to use all the online resources that are available, like TED Talks, like lyrics training, like all the resources. Like those of you who are Russian speakers, you might check out the live stream we had yesterday on LinguaTrip TV channel, and I gave a lot of resources there that you might use. And once again, if you don't speak Russian, you can still just check it out. And because I shared my screen and I showed how they look like, so you can check that out. Because like, well, okay, so you can use this listening. You can also use a lot of applications for IELTS and TOEFL prep. Like, for example, like for IELTS, it's going to be miniielts.com. This is really cool. And you can also use Memoirs TV for learning the new words. Okay, this one. How not to be shy during speaking with natives. It's like, just imagine that if you're gonna talk to some person who is studying your own language, and you are not gonna kind of feel that he is making some mistakes, it's not gonna really bother you. So you just have to relax and to start forming some sentences. And try not to form them, in advance, because this is not gonna work. If you planned your speech and then something goes wrong and a native speaker asks you something, then it's going to be a real stress for you. So try not to plan what you're going to say. Try not to attempt to speak really fluently. You can slow it down. And the first thing that I suggest is try talking, even, just talking, telling about some events that happened to you, some things. So try doing that. It's really useful. Okay. Result in is like, you can say, for example, something resulted in an accident. So it's like, this was a result of something. There's also a good phrasal verb to result from. It's also really, really, really cool for writing. Okay, well, so we're going to continue. In this case, let me make my share screen once again. And okay, so these are 5 more phrasal verbs we will use. One is fed up. Fed up means to be sick of something or to be frustrated with a situation. It's usually we use it like, really, for example, you can say, I really dislike my chemistry class. I'm so fed up with it that I'm thinking about dropping the class. So it means I'm really kind of tired, I'm frustrated with this class, I'm sick of it. Basically means I dislike. I'm fed up with you lying to me all the time. That's another way of saying that. It means I'm really tired of you lying to me all the time. I don't want it to be lied to. It's like to be fed up. You can write, right now in the comments, what are you fed up with? Just try to do that. The more sentences you're going to come up with, the better. Oh, that's another phrasal verb I've just used, to come up with something. So to come up with something means to come up with an idea, to come up with an example. The next phrasal verb is to look down on. Look down usually on somebody. It means when you express dislike, you kind of dislike somebody for being of a lower status. You can say, my friend always looks down on working class people. It's strange, really, when you consider that his own father was a coal miner. So he looks down on working class people means he, kind of despises them, he dislikes them. This is kind of an idea. Yeah, to look down on somebody. Like, are you looking down on me? Like, yeah, regularly when you have some elderly brothers or sisters, they might be looking down on you as well. Phrasal verb number 13 is get in. It's mostly like get inside, but you can also use it when talking about arriving somewhere. Usually it's planes, that arrive at an airport. So you can say, my plane gets in at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Can you pick me up from the airport? So that is it. You can say, my plane gets in at 5 p.m. If there are some of you who are flying somewhere, please tell me, when is your plane getting in? Phrasal verb 14 is to keep up with something. It's like maintain a standard. Whenever we're talking about keeping up, it's once again very frequently used in college, related situation. Like he had to work very hard to keep up with his peers at college. Like, you can let me know whether you have to work hard to maintain something, or do you need to keep up with your classmates at school or with your peers at college. And phrasal verb 15. Oh, well, one more example here. It's keeping up with innovation. If there are any entrepreneurs among us, like, keeping up with innovation is crucial for a successful company. You might know that as keeping up with innovation. And in this case, one more example is he tried to keep up with the lecture, but the speaker simply spoke too quickly for him to understand. So if you feel that I'm speaking too quickly for you to understand, then tell me and let me know in the comments, because I'm gonna slow down. And you can say, well, Anastasia, it's really difficult for me to keep up with the lecture because I cannot understand all of the ideas that you are trying to communicate. Well, phrasal verb 15 is bring someone around to your point of view. This is, by the way, the difference. In Britain, they are more likely to say to bring someone round instead of around. And this means to persuade somebody. You can say, I argued with her all day, but I still cannot bring her around. So she still is not persuaded by me. And if you're in a disagreement with a stubborn person, it may be hard to bring them around. So it may be hard to persuade this person of something. So it's like to bring him or her around. Okay, so let me see. What are your example sentences? Well, there are a lot of them. Okay. Upper intermediate, upper intermediate, I would use solutions. If you want to have a student book, or if you just want to read a book, you can find a lot of Macmillan editions. I would suggest How to American. Yeah, How to American. And as far as I see, you are Russian, so I think I'm gonna even find a web page. One sec. No, probably not. But you can check it out. There is this book on the twerks.com webpage, and you can download a lot of books for free there. And How to American would be really good. Must I speak only in English? Well, that would be awesome if you speak only in English, but at least try to dedicate about 30 minutes a day. This is the minimum amount. If you speak English less than 30 minutes a day, then you're going to have problems speaking English. I'm so fed up with people who look down on others just because of their job positions. Awesome. You even managed to use 2 phrasal verbs in one sentence. I'm fed up with Mondays. I can understand you. I'm fed up with toxic people around me. That's a good one. Please answer me. Well, I think that I actually gave an answer. I'm fed up with their service. Whose service? Please elaborate. My friend looks down on people with mental health diseases. Well, that's not really tolerate. Okay, I'm fed up with you being late all the time. That's a great example. I'm literally fed up with a plethora of homework. That is good. Did you watch? I think I had a stream on IELTS with these expressions, because you're using a lot of them, like a plethora or pivotal. That's awesome. I'm fed up with exams. Yeah, or I'm fed up with my exam period. To look down on, to look up to. Yes, exactly. Those are antonyms. I'm fed up with the fact that I didn't start learning English earlier when I could. It's very, very typical. I think a lot of people, it's not even that I'm fed up with the fact I'd better say that I'm really disappointed in this case. It's like I'm disappointed that I didn't start learning English earlier. I have to keep up with my classmates, and I really apply myself. Well, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. In this case, you can say that I have to keep up with my classmates, for example, to get good grades, as an example, yeah? So that's going to be a better option. I'm fed up with people who, it's okay, you can use that. And in the United States, they're going to use that. But that's very conversational and it's like kind of lazy English. If you want to write the sentence and if you want to write it in formal setting, you need to say, I'm fed up with people who do not subscribe to. That's a good one. May speak my native language or may just speak only in English. Well, you mean now or do you mean like regularly? If now, then unfortunately I will probably not be able to understand your native language. But regularly, if you can speak only English on an everyday basis, that's just going to be awesome. But even if you speak for about 30 minutes, that's going to be great. I'm used to be really persuasive. People brought me around pretty easily. I'm fed up with tons of homework. Great. You see, guys, you're doing it. Do you have, like, are there some people who cannot keep up with our lecture? Because I speak too quickly for them to understand. Because if there are, I'm going to slow it down. Let me know if there are some people who cannot keep up with the lecture. You're great, but you speak quickly and I don't linking. You speak quickly. So there is one person who cannot keep up with our lecture. Who else? If you can keep up, just try writing this using this expression. I'm going to try to slow down. That's a difficult thing for me to do, but I'm going to try to slow down for you to be able to keep up with the lecture. Everyone can. Looks like everyone can. Okay, let's move on in this case, and let's take a look at a few more phrasal verbs. I think we're going to take a look at 5 more phrasal verbs, and then I'm going to answer all of the questions. Okay, so to allow for. To allow for means to consider something, making a plan. You can say that you need to allow for, let's say, all the costs. Or once again, for people who want to start up their own company, when starting up your own company, you need to allow for unplanned expenses. Because you never know how things are going to be. So you need to be ready for that. You can also say that, have you allowed for the cost of all the materials? Have you allowed for the cost? Or when I go on vacation, I always allow some time for a trip to the beach. Let me know, do you allow some time for a trip to a beach when you go on a vacation? And also, do you allow for unplanned expenses when you start up your own company? Yeah, it means like you kind of, okay, you consider that. Now, 17 is scale up. Scale up means expand, like a company. And we can use it, referring to a business that is in the process of expanding. Once again, any successful company needs to scale up to thrive. Or scaling up our productions is key at the moment. So scaling up productions, to scale up when talking about a company, means to expand. 18 is build up, means increase in size. It's pretty similar, or accumulate. Accumulate or increase in size. The tension between rival groups has built up over the past few weeks. Or my mom gave me a pep talk to build up my confidence. And the build up means accumulation. The buildup of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is threatening many species of animals. Well, let me see in this case what your comments are, because we're running out of time and I want to take a look at your comments and your questions before we have to finish. Okay. Well. I gotta keep up with the good work, thus I'm gonna get a promotion. I gotta keep up with, you can say, a lot of work. Yes, and this is how I'm gonna get a promotion. You're readable. Okay, well, thank you. I'm fed up or sick of. That is the same thing, exactly. That's I'm fed up or I'm sick of you. Well, yeah, I'm sick of you or I'm fed up with something. What is the difference between topping and stuffing when we talk about food? Well, I think we will not have a lot of time to cover that, but if you're interested in food topic, as well as if you're interested in environment, work, study, traveling, I'm going to be covering all that on my intensive course from elementary to intermediate. So if you're interested, you can sign up for the course, and the link is right after the video. So I think right below the video. And there are just like a few more spots there with a $20 discount. So if you're interested, you can sign up. I really love this course. In my opinion, this is one of the best courses I've done before because I think it's really cool for everybody. So it's cool for elementary students, for pre-intermediate, intermediate, also for those who are taking out TOEFL, because there is a lot of vocabulary for the speaking section. And there is also a lot of vocabulary for people who want to do the writing section as well. So you can check that out. And we have a whole module there dedicated to food. So there's going to be a lot of information. When should I use that? What's the differences? Okay, well, app is used when you can substitute it with any. So if you say, I have a book, well, it's one of many books, so any book. You say, I have a book. Now, that is when you can substitute it with this. So, for example, the book is great, so it means this book is great. And once again, there is this principle that when you say something for the first time, you use an indefinite article. You say, I have a book. When you repeat, like the same noun in your second sentence, you're going to say, the book is great. But I would going to tell you that when you have uncountable nouns, mostly you're not going to use any article at all. Like water is important. When you have a countable noun, in this case, yeah, you have to use either a or the. When you have plural, like nouns in plural form, like people or let's say buildings, you don't need an article in the majority of cases. So things become much easier because you only need to make this choice while talking about countable nouns. Can you tell me a method where I can, like probably you mean an application? I'm going to send you one. Like the one that I love is Quizlet. You can also use Lingualeo, but my favorite one is Quizlet. Because in Quizlet, you can learn a lot of words at the same time. And it's really, really, in my opinion, it's very effective because it gives you an opportunity to learn them fast. Oh, well, let me make your share screen. If I have, okay. Yeah, I think I have it here. Yeah, that's really cool app. If you have not been using it before, please try to use it because I think it allows you to expand your vocabulary significantly. So look, in this case, we have, for example, like this one that I've made for my IELTS intensive course just to show it to the guys. And I'm going to have the same Quizlet sets during the intensive course from elementary to intermediate. So when you have a vocabulary topic, first of all, you have a video with me talking about this topic using the new words. And then in this case, you have this kind of Quizlet set. And you see you have flashcards. It shows you the words that you missed, the words that you rarely missed and never missed. And you can learn them. Well, while learning, you see you can write them down, for example, like etc. Or you can write, spell, check. There is a match. This is kind of a game. So you see you have to match the word with its definition. If I'm doing incorrectly, you see it just doesn't go. If I'm doing it correctly, a lot of, by the way, that's the synonym for a plethora of, that's going to disappear. Like, or pivotal, that's the synonym of important. Or urban area, in this case, that's going to be the synonym for a city, so etc., etc. And as I said, my favorite one is gravity because it's really awesome. You can protect your own planet against asteroids. And what you have to do, you are just having the word in, like, well, you can put it in your own language or in English. So individuals, in this case, that's the same for people. And you see when I click, that just disappears. And I got some points, like juveniles, that's children, but this is more like for people who are taking IELTS. But anyway, you can practice with whatever words you're interested in. And the best thing here is that you can always create your own study set. So for example, like just new words, and you can import it from Google Doc. For example, like pivotal equals important. You can just copy paste it, and then you see it actually gets divided between term and definition column. So, well, I think it's super useful, and you click on create, and there it is. You can start using it. So if you don't use it yet, please make sure you do, because it's, in my opinion, it's just awesome. So you can do it for 15 minutes before you go to bed. Okay, any more questions here? Okay, please answer me. Well, I think I answered your question. Can you tell me a method? Okay, well, is it hard for natives to try doing another accent? Well, sometimes it depends on the person. Like some people do it easily. For some people, it's a trouble, especially for British people to change, their accent to American. How to remember all this forever? Well, if you're gonna use them for about 5 or 6 times and then continue using them in your everyday life, you will remember them forever. Like you remember the word I like because you repeat it all the time. Thank you for answering my questions. I'm so glad. Well, welcome. How can I speak like you? Well, you have to be speaking. That's the first rule. You have to be speaking. You have to be also listening to a lot of things, just whatever, audiobooks, movies. Once again, whatever that you can do, try to listen and read at the same time. This works amazing. I think, 1 second, I'm gonna try to find, there was a page that I wanted to share with you guys. I'm not sure I will be able to find it right now, but anyway. Oh yeah, there's also like a good thing you might do. This is news in level. I'm gonna send them to you. This is really for improving your vocabulary. You have English news in levels, and you have 3 levels of difficulty. So try checking that out as well. I'm inclined to believe that a person will persist a lot of goals. That's why I will carry out this lecture at university. Yeah, I watched yesterday's online translation. Thank you. That's cool. That's cool. In this case, try to do as much of studying as you can while you have some time, because it's something really crucial, and that's something that gives you opportunities to expand your knowledge and then to succeed in your life. So that's certainly. I didn't really know you're not a native speaker. Well, no, I'm not a native speaker. I think that's, you can hear that. Can these phrasal verbs be used in formal speech? Oh, well, yeah, that depends. But yeah, actually, if you are, for example, having a speech in front of American audience, like you can use them for sure. That's not a problem. How do you practice language? You have to be learning it first. As I said, you have to be trying to learn it, and this implies that you not only listen and read, but you also speak and write. Actually, for writing, we're also going to have some tasks in the course. And by the way, guys, I have a lot of questions from people who are asking about different types of packages we have for intensive course. And they ask, like, what are the benefits of the master package? Just if you are also thinking about that, pay attention that I really believe that the master package is one of the best, because it gives you access to a Telegram group that we have, and you can ask all your questions like 24/7. So if you have any questions, you can ask them there, and I'm going to be answering them. So if you're interested, you can sign up. Can we use all of these phrases, verbs, and IELTS speaking? That's exactly what I was talking about. Of course, you are more than welcome to use them. I also had a live stream on idioms. Did I? Well, it looks to me that I did. Oh, yeah, I remembered that. Okay, in terms of the course, we also have two live streams, like that's kind of closed webinars. Usually that's two closed webinars a month. And I was talking about idioms on one of them. So if you want to like get more idioms, you can sign up either for this course or you can sign up for my course on IELTS on Linguatrip page because we have this live streams and usually it's dedicated for me answering questions, but there are not a lot of questions. So regularly I'm just going to take some topic like we did today. And for example, like we talked about idioms that are awesome to use to expand your speaking, or we would talk about like phrasal verbs. For example, these phrasal verbs, we only covered 20 out of 30. So the rest 10, I'm going to cover them on the next closed stream. So if you're interested, you can sign up for the course and then you can just watch the closed webinar and you can ask whatever questions you have because there are less people and there is a higher possibility that your question will be answered. Is it worse to learn 3 languages at the same time than only one? That depends on you. I love learning a lot of languages, as you probably know. I speak 5, but that's, that depends on the person. I have some people who prefer to focus on one language and really study it. Where are you from if you're not a native speaker of English language? Well, I'm from Russia originally. And could you suggest me a book which is an advanced level to read? Becoming Steve Jobs is one of my favorites. Yeah, Becoming Steve Jobs is really cool. It's advanced. Has it been hard to you to change your mind and make it think in English? No, not at all. If you listen to a lot of things in English, especially before you go to bed, you will be able to do it. And have dreams in English, that's not something really difficult. I always go to class, but I want to practice the language more. So keep on, start doing that. TED Talks, for example, is a great help for you. Okay, guys, in this case, our time, I think, is it's rather limited. So it's time for us to finish. Once again, if you are interested in learning more phrasal verbs, you can sign up for my course. If you feel that there were enough phrasal verbs for you, try to use these ones and try to practice them as much as possible. So, organize a conversation with your friend. You can even try to organize a conversation here, or if you have some language partner, try to discuss this with him or her, or find a friend to whom you're going to tell all these phrasal verbs. And while you're going to be telling them, you try to use some of the examples we covered today. So anyway, make sure that you use them a lot because otherwise it's going to be difficult for them to stick in your memory. Why do you not teach other languages on YouTube? Well, that's a good idea. I haven't thought about that yet. Well, thank you very much for attending our stream today. Break a leg for everyone here. That's a good word. So I wish you all best of luck in your studies and have a great evening or have a great day. Depends on where you come from. And then I'm seeing you soon. Wish you best of luck. Bye.